am deeply asleep, alone in myself and with myself. And from the depths of my being, a sound emerges. In fact, it is only thought that later calls it a sound. In my experience, it is just hearing. Hearing arises in myself, and the only substance present in myself out of which hearing is made is myself. This hearing is made out of my own substance. It fills the entirety of myself. I am this hearing. And now, myself, this same one that was taking the shape of hearing and that thought labelled the siren, now takes the shape of the texture of sheets and the smell of the early morning. Thought has not yet risen to call it sheets or bedroom or early morning. There is just myself. Myself modulated as the experience of touching, smelling, sensing, seeing. Thought has not yet risen to imagine an inside self and an outside world. Thought has not yet risen to divide this seamless intimacy of seeing, sensing, hearing, smelling into two apparent parts. One part inside the body that does the knowing, and another part outside the body that is known. No, I know none of these things. I know only this seamless intimacy that takes the shape of sensing, hearing, touching, smelling, seeing, and even takes the shape of thinking that describes all these things as being known by an inside self moving around in an outside world. It is thought that says that I woke up in a body, that I was asleep dreaming, but I know no such thing. I never sleep. I am always awake, this ever-present wakefulness, being modulated in the full spectrum of experiencing. Everything made only of the intimacy of my own being, the intimacy of experiencing. And now, as I get up, this seeing is modulated. It starts to take new shapes and new colours, but it remains only seeing, only myself, taking place in the same placeless place of my own being. Thought has still not yet risen to imagine an inside self and an outside world. Only seeing, only myself, only the intimacy of experiencing. Still, only seeing. Thoughts will later rise up and imagine that an inside self has woken up as a body and is now moving around in a world. But I know no such experience. I remain where I always am, in the placeless place of my own being, and everything that appears is only a modulation of myself, a modulation of knowing or experiencing. Still, there is only seeing, arising in the same placeless place of my own being, made out of the only stuff that is present inside myself, that is, myself, made only of this wide-awake presence. This presence has not woken up in a world. This presence is not located in a body. The world and the body have woken up inside me. I am this always awake, always present, aware presence. I don't sleep, I don't dream, I don't awake. I am this ever-present wakefulness. It is only thought that rises up and imagines that I take place inside a body, and that this body moves inside a world, and that this body then falls asleep and dreams, and then goes into deep sleep. But I do not move through any of these states. I am always awake. And who knows a body now? Can you find anywhere a body, a self, a person that is knowing the current experience? Or is there just the current experience made out of the knowing of it? Where do you find a person, a knower, a self in this picture? Only thought imagines such a personal knower of experience. I know no such knower. I am the knowing that is all experience. That is all I ever know. And indeed, who says there is an outside world at a distance from myself? I know no such world. Only thought says such things. To me, there is only experiencing, in this moment, seeing, hearing, touching. There is no one that does the seeing, and no thing that is seen. Just this indivisible, utterly intimate seeing, hearing. It is not made of parts, or selves, or objects, or entities. It is just made of myself alone. And as this body gets into bed and closes its eyes, the world too closes its eyes. The images of the waking state slowly dissolve, and with it the apparent world dissolves. Slowly sensing, seeing and hearing dissolve. And again seeing arises from the depths of my being, made out of myself alone, taking place in exactly the same place as the sound of the siren, the seeing called clouds, the hearing, the sights, the tastes, the textures, the smells of the waking state. Seeing now rises again. Thinking is not present to call it the waking state. So for myself, I experience it in exactly the same way as I experience the apparently waking world. Both this apparent dream world and that apparent waking world are, to me, identical, made out of the same stuff, made out of seeing, imagining, hearing, that is made out of myself alone. It all takes place in the same placeless place, and it is all made out of the stuff of my own being. No person is having this dream. This dream is my own being, modulated in the form of seeing, imagining. It is myself alone that is known. And soon this seeing too dissolves back into myself, leaving only myself at rest in myself, knowing only my own being, abiding in and as and with myself alone, until myself again is modulated in the form of sensing, smelling, tasting, hearing, and seeing.